Hello, hello, hello. We are in a search for my glasses. It's Sunday night at the seashore. Hello, everybody. Oh, it is toasted now here in the house. You gotta love it. Sunday night at the seashore. So, I hope everybody had a good day. Here it's been freezing cold, and we are good. We are good. That's okay. If I don't find the glasses, then maybe somewhere else. I didn't need it in my bag, but it's okay. I will be able to see maybe the screen. Sometimes when you wear glasses, it's a royal pain when you try to read something and it's all fuzzy. Not because you're drunk, because you're sober, but but your eyes are like, ooh, we're not gonna make it clear. We're gonna make it flu, like fuzzy, fuzzy, so you don't see very well. But hey, it's Sunday night at the sea show. Oh, thank you. You brought me everything. That's awesome. We found the glasses. So Emma can see now the screen with her. Oh yes, now we can see. That's awesome. So we are a day from, I was going to say Halloween. This is bad. If I say Halloween for Valentine's Day, that's not a good sign. That is not a good sign if I say that. Hold on. All right. Yeah, it is not Halloween. It is Valentine tomorrow. What kind of horror story? It will be a good thing for tonight. One of the topic I should say is incident said, let's unwind. I should have just wrote down, not wrote down, but tell us about a horror story for Valentine's. What is the worst one you have ever been in? That would have been just fine. That would be kind of fun, or a funny one too. You never know. But if you have a fun story for Valentine's, please share it. We're all ears here. We want to have a little fun here tonight. We're gonna not take it ourselves too seriously. Oh, Dr. Love is in the house. So if Mr. Dr. Love is in the house, it's a good thing because and I'm going to repeat this during the show tonight. We do have an awesome show coming on Tuesday called, for the moment, the title will be The Sea Show Meets Dr. Love. Yes, we're going to have a beautiful show coming up talking about sensuality, sexuality. It's going to be a very good one because guess who is Dr. Love? There's only one Dr. Love that I know, and it would be, oh yes, Dr. Love is coming on board. It would be Dr. Goodman. So I'm happy to talk to you. Hello, Dr. Love. What's up, Doc?
I'm gonna
How
go
are
make
you?
a I'm
How are
gonna
you
go make
doing?
a cup of coffee after that.
Oh
But
yes, you do.
uh,
You
I'm
do.
doing great, and I was actually thinking about what we're gonna talk about, and then it's just like well, if you talk about you have a great topic to talk about, and I was going over the website, and then I remember that not only the the audio is on the website, and it's in all in different sections. So I mean, just thought of playing them section by section and asking questions about them. It's really discovering more about who you are, and
Yes.
that's the basis of the love that you have for yourself is where you start off at, and then you want to share that, and other people see that, and then this you got something going, a relationship between the two, you know,
Mm-hmm.
a relationship with the boss, with your new job, your new career, but it starts with you.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. And yeah, and on Tuesday we're going to be talking about that. And
Uh huh.
every Tuesday, and also we're talking behind the scene for people who don't know, and we'll discover more along the way. I have to repoint one of my websites. It's not out yet, but I have to point the domain back, which I purchased the domain, so I own that domain, which is the cshow.com. So I'm going to get it up and running sometime this week. So we got the page for Dr. Love in there. And we're going to get informations and as well every episodes that we are going to do here on Wisdom will be there for people to listen. And we're going to do other things along the way as we're developing this show with Dr. Love. We're going to do more things, and it will probably end up as on YouTube as well, on the YouTube channels. I
Yes,
have one.
quickly, I feel like it's going to end up on TV.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to do the TV version of it, my friend. It's like we're going for the ride here. This is a ride. I am not going to get up from that ride because this is going to be an awesome ride. Yes.
Yes. And it's so many people that doing podcasts is looking forward to this. And one guy, he's an actor, and he got his own TV show. Video audio studio and writing and stuff, and he done did a couple TV shows what he said, the fill-ins and the background, and so it's just like he was very excited about it. I think I was the second one, the first one, talking to him. He came on and said, "I have no idea what I'm doing," and I just went up, just clicked on and went talking to him.
Cool.
And, yeah. So he's just looking forward to it, and other people's just looking forward to it, and so I really think it's going to be a really big hit, and like that waterfall was saying to me, your journey have just begun.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree. And I am so humbled you picked me to be your co-host, which is like, oh my God, cannot get any better than that. It's like last Tuesday was like Christmas for me. Santa came 3 times. It's like, awesome, great. It was, but for me, it's going to be great. It's, to me, when we talk about love, we talk about sensuality, I think it's a subject here that a lot of people don't know, or they think, or they have an assumption or a view of it that, could be helped, because it's going to be helping people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
and the main thing, you said sexuality to people, a lot of people, and the first thing they think about is sexuality.
exactly.
I'm going to have sex here.
Yeah.
And she's been all this and nice and sweet, and it's like, you're not listening to what she is saying. You just listen to your other head.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
I know. I think it's going to be great for teaching and for people to learn, including me, because it's nice to be able to have someone who can teach us all of this or remind us a bunch of stuff we forgot or we never been taught. There's a lot of things we have not been taught. And we're assuming. And maybe we can course correct that. And when we can course correct that, it's beneficial for everybody.
Exactly. No.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm so proud I put you out of retirement. I am the guilty one.
Yeah, you're the blessed one too, because it's somebody else sent me a message said pretty much the same thing. I'm so glad she brought you out of retirement. Because
Good.
you have a lot to say.
Good. I know, but that's why it's like being able to talk with you, and I did the same with Sammy when hopefully he's coming back soon to do the rest of the sea show with me. But it's always great to have people who have something to share, a story to share, a knowledge to share, and it's beneficial for everybody.
Exactly.
Everybody. Because, sorry, my parents never taught me sensuality. Nobody taught me anything about sensuality at all. So, and the same of loving, the same of the level of sexuality as well. It's like, So it's nice to be able to take a subject like that and in a mindful way explaining it without turning it into trash. And that's about what it is here. It's bringing it. And I know a lot of people talking about sensuality, like you said, most people do think sensuality is, sexuality is like, no. That's why I'm so excited for you on Tuesday to explain the difference between both, because I think some people need that clarification, but it's being able to explain it in a way that it's with dignity. It's not a trashy subject. It can be trashy if we make it trashy the way we talk about it, but we can dignify it when we can speak it properly. And that's what I'm looking forward with you, is for you to teach us and share with us your thoughts and the way it should be talked about. Because for people, it's kind of taboo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And for me, it's not taboo because we should be able to talk about it without feeling ashamed or a pervert, because people were saying, well, she's talking about this, so that means she's an easy one. It's like, no, it's communicating and being able to share it, not meaning that I'm going to go to bed with you, absolutely not, but being able to not feeling ashamed or thinking it's a taboo subject, then, oh my God, we only talk it be done, behind closed doors. And it's like, no, it should be an open subject when we speak it in a very good tone of voice, not trashy version, but dignifying way. I don't know how to say it in English on this one, but that's how I see it.
It sounded pretty plain to me.
Okay,
No,
good.
yes.
You will do the work behind the scene, my friend. You're the one who's going to explain everything. But, it should be mainstream. And I remember that reminds me, actually, that reminds me something at work that happened several years ago. And we were talking with a coworker, and we were looking at something, and we used the word sexy. Not sexy in a sense of sex, but we're looking at something on a computer. It's like, oh, this is sexy. It's like, yeah, this is pretty cool. Well, the person that was sitting next to us got offended because we used the word sexy. And I'm like, okay, all right. But sexy doesn't mean sex all the time either. And it was very interesting to encounter this. And it's like, okay, that was very interesting. So that's why it's like bringing the subject for me. It can be talked about without turning into something absolutely, trashy. And that's not the subject here. So that's going to be, I'm excited about it.
Yes, and another thing is like you with somebody, and you get really turned on over and over, and then, okay, and the only way we're going to have sex is get married and then do it in the dark. And then when
Yep.
you turn the lights on, you realize you really don't like each other. Don't even, wow, she looked like that without makeup? No. No.
I know. It's not like in a movie when they sleep with the makeup and wake up with the makeup, isn't it?
Yeah, really? No, I don't want to see my face. You know, uh,
Yeah.
we only do it in the dark, and you wait till I go to the bathroom, get
Yep.
dressed, and then I go out in the front room and wait for you to come out. No, but you got to
Yeah.
be dressed. I don't want to see you, just you. I want to
Yep.
see you pretend what you look like when you're all dressed up. No, that's not the
Exactly.
real you. And so.
I agree with you. This is so true. This is so, so true. And that's why I think that subject needs to be, needs to be explored, and for people to listen to it. And it will be, there's going to be some great aha moment. I do know that. And that's what I want to talk about. It's like, to me, it's the ideal topic. And, there is so much you can talk about. And that's why it's like, hey, let's explore this. Let's see where we're going with that.
Mm.
I know. Dr. Love, what can I say?
Yeah, so I'm gonna get off for this here and go make a cup of coffee before I get carried away. But
Yep.
just think about fear and approval, and how much you want to be approved of someone else that don't really like you, but
Oh,
you want
wow.
to be approved of them, and then at the end of the day, you dislike yourself.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That is pretty deep on this one.
Okay, I'll talk with you in a minute. Somebody else
Okay.
come up, go for it.
Okay. And Dr. Love will be back because, whoa, that is to me, wow. Yeah. Getting somebody's approval and then realizing that, yeah, wow. Okay. I'm thinking about, I don't know for you guys, but I'm thinking about, did I have done that in the past? That would be the question for me because did I have done that in the past to gain somebody's approval? And not liking myself at the end of the day because, yeah, because you're giving your powers away on the top of it too, which is not good. And you, at the end of the day, you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you know that even though you might not like that person either, you don't like who you see in the mirror either because that's not who you should be. Wow. I don't know for you, but we're unwinding in a very great way, actually. So, wow, amazing. So, is anybody has an interesting, I will say, Valentine's story, a fun one? I have a couple, but I think I'm going to keep it for myself for the moment. I have some entertainment too. That even it was the day before Valentine's. Actually, it was the day before our Valentine's. To make it, oh, I could tell the story actually. Um, I will not date the time or when, which year it happened, but was in a relationship with someone actually, and it happened that his ex, that's quite interesting, was a stalker, and on the 13th we met and we were supposed to have dinner, etc., etc. So we're unwinding in his house, and she did came on her own, tried to get in the house. However, she did find a way to get in the house, and it was a very interesting moment for me when I had a conversation with that individual, with that lady, and she thought she was still in a relationship with him, which was quite interesting. So, neither to say that it was a very interesting moment for me to see somebody who lost was delusional and stalking that individual. But yeah, that was the day before. That was on the 13th. So I think the 13th always remind me of that day. I think, and it's quite make me smile at some point, and quite sad in one other way too. But it's made me smile when we come on the 13th of February. So here's my funny story. It was very interesting actually that evening. Very, very interesting. No, the cops were not involved in there. And that person later on did something even better because climbed out of the window. So that's another story too. Never leave a window open, especially when people decide to climb the windows because you never know who's coming into your house. That was another story. That was hilarious, actually. It was very, very funny. Same person, but yeah, that person didn't realize that when a relationship is over, you walk away, you don't come back. But that person didn't realize that that was the case. So, yes, that was my Valentine's story. So, is anybody has a funny story? Everybody's having a heart attack right now. That was fun, I must say. I must say. So, but that's okay. This is how we go here. So, yeah, talking about Tuesday. So, guys, this is going to be an interesting show, and looking forward with Dr. Love, aka Dr. Goodman. We are going to be exploring those that subject because to me, here, it's a very interesting, especially when you're not born here and you come in this country and there is kind of a prude, oh, we're barring this and that, and you're looking at some of the rap videos and you're looking at some stuff on TV that are pretty much more sexist and everything like that, and you're like, well, you don't want to talk about the subject of sexuality or sex in, I would say, decent manner, but you're showing some of the stuff, or downgrading a little bit, womanizing, becoming a womanizer, or showing a woman, but not what I will call it in a best way, meaning more trashy and everything else. Where women, we have a brain, we do use our brains. So it's very interesting to not be able to have some shows that, like the one we're going to start on Tuesday, more of those shows. I think there was Dr. Ruth. I think that was the only one who had it on radio that I know or that I remember. We talk about it. But there is not that much shows that talk about the sensuality, the sexuality in a way that is start, like Dr. Love said, start with us. And relearning the perception of having and talk to somebody who is sensual, that doesn't mean we're invited to go straight to the bed. That's not what it's all about. And making the distinction that, hey, keep your blood in your brain, not underneath the belt. So you realize that what the person is talking about. It doesn't mean they're gonna go straight to bed. So it's gonna be very interesting, and I'm looking forward for those great conversation. And as I mentioned, I'm gonna have my what do you call it, the website up and running, because I got the domain, but I need to point it out to my host and making sure I can get it up and running. So when it's up and running, there will be a page actually for Dr. Love, and being able to get all of the shows. I'm going to move, and I already did the test yesterday. It took me a while actually before I could do that, which was funny because I use my iPad, and I was able to put it on my Podomatic, the show that I did on Friday. I put it yesterday on Podomatic, and because I want to keep a trace of it. And there is, again, Emma's Universe has over, 80 countries that are listening. At least minimum of 80 countries. That was the last time I checked, so it's like over a year ago. Anyhow, so those guys are listening now. So the people who, normally I tweet it after I'm done, and this time I posted it on my Podomatic, so that's stay there. So I'm going to be able to use Podomatic and putting into that static page into the website, the C show, so we can get all of them. And on the top of it, when we continue to develop this, we're going to probably do some Zoom meeting with Dr. Love, so we can basically have those via Zoom. I'm going to utilize this way, and then being able to record some of them and put them into YouTube channel and stuff like that. So to get more information and talk more and deeper things we're going to do. So we're going to develop this, and I think it will be a great way to teach people a lot of things, learn, and not only everybody, but I include myself as well, because we all need to learn a little bit more about who we are and loving each other first before we can communicate better with others. But this is going to be great. So I'm looking forward for Tuesday to start that new adventures, and I am the guilty party who put Dr. Love out of retirement. So that's going to be fun. A lot of things he has to say, and to me it's an opportunity to learn more. And just, as I said, not a lot of people talk about that subject. So we're going to be able to do that with an expert, and starting Tuesday, once a week. And if we have to do it more, then we'll do more during the week. But we're going to start with once a week for the next 4 weeks, see how it goes, and we'll go from there, and it's going to grow. So probably wrote some blogs, going to do a lot of things that will really be impactful and help all of us. Not only one of the few, but everybody. So that's the fun part right here. What else we're gonna talk about? Except I said it was a frozen day today at in La La Land here, but the pups at least enjoy a little bit of the outside. Plus, we went to Walt TT was yesterday. We went to PetSmart, where the pet goes, and decided that Mac and Daddy would come with us. So the pop-ups came with us. And, you know, when you bring a kid to a toy store or you bring them with you and you're like, okay, go get and pick up your toy. And they go in there and they pick up, you know, one or two. And I'm like, no, you have to pick one. Well, I did the same thing. Well, Daddy could care less, so I picked one for her. But Mac, who love his babies, we may, I got him. He has an hesitation between there was what an alligator, a green one, and the other one was an octopus. But the octopus looked a little weird. But he picked the alligator first. So after an hesitation, because somebody pointed out the octopus, he went back for the alligator, make him choose. So I had to remove the what do you call it? It was attached to cardboard, whatever. I removed it and gave it to him. So he had his alligator, and I pick up another one for Dada and a couple of balls. But he got his little toys like a good boy. He went out of the store with his toys in his mouth. It was quite funny. So he got his little toys. It was funny to do the test, what he wanted. So, but he liked his alligator. Now, to be honest, there is a little squishy thing that makes a lot of noise, turning nuts. He removed the tail. I was in the store. I was trying to tear the thing apart because that's what he does. So he got the tail out. Then by the time we left, we went, did some other errands, came back. The two paws, the two legs were missing. He tear the side of it and was able to remove that squeaky thing. And I think he was trying to attack the face after that. So he looks like a alligator that had a bad day right now. And he likes to tear apart all of the fluffy stuff inside of it too, which was fun to watch him to do it because it's all over the floor. That's typical of him. But he got his toys. So that was awesome. I should have actually recorded him when he was picking up his toys because that was funny. It's like a kid on the front of all of the toys. It's like, which one I'm picking up? This one, not sure. But he liked the gator. So he got another gator too. I don't think his sister's going to eat it or do anything with it. But that's the fun part of it for today. So I hope. What's your plan, by the way, for tomorrow? Because tomorrow is Valentine's, unless you guys celebrated a little bit today, which is highly possible. But what is your plans for tomorrow? Everybody is quiet today. Maybe they're watching the game. I don't know. I don't even know what the game is for today, so that's another thing too. Hey, Ben, do you want to come up on stage? Now I see you. You're here, my friend. Do you want to come up for a minute and share a little bit of your story? What do you want to do? That would be awesome if you could, because you talked to me earlier, so you cannot ignore me. I know your phone number, so if you want to come up on stage, that would be awesome for a little bit. That would be great. So you can talk to us and share your story. In case you don't know who Benjamin is, he's a brand new, we cannot say, we can still say brand new listener who found Wisdom, the app Wisdom, and he came on stage. He talked to me a week ago, not directly. No, it was last Sunday actually. I even interrupted my conversation with Mary and was answering his question he had because he was talking to me via Instagram. So I was talking to him via Instagram on Wisdom, and I had the privilege to have Ben coming live on Tuesday, talking about him, and he still have a challenge, and the challenge is for him to do his own show. So that's something he's going to be doing it. He still have to have his own show, but I wanted him to come on stage just to say hi. And he's from Kenya, and he moved 5 years ago here in the U.S. So having a great experience of living in Kenya, and I mentioned to him, I said, that would be great if you could do that too, because people might not know Kenya. So it would be a great way to talk about where he grew up and what he did, and know a little bit more about the country as well. So, because Kenya is a beautiful country, but not everybody knows about Kenya. So, I'm hoping he's going to come on stage here. That would be awesome, and also talked about integration, because You know, when you're not born in a country and you move to a new country, so when you're not born in a country where you decided to move in, it's very interesting to hear the integration, what it takes, what's the difference, and what's surprising is the most surprising for people. For me here, when I moved here, well, from Europe, there were not much difference except some of the only thing that surprised me was we have a better railroad system for sure. The airlines here, most people travel by air, so that's the fastest one. And in some cities, I did not say every cities, but some cities, the transit is not that great. The bus system on some areas are not that great. And even, well, so it depends. Like you're looking at New York, well, you don't even talk about New York because there's buses there, you get a train, you get a subway, you get everything over there. But in some other part, like here, where I'm at, if you are in the outskirts of Minneapolis, some areas, the bus system, no, not that existent, or it's very difficult to go from point A to B because you get to make 2 or 3 different exchanges. You spend more time to go between buses. Even though they started a light rail a few years ago, it's still underdeveloped. They used to have, what do you call it? San Francisco has it. Those are the cars that you see in pictures. I forgot the name of it. They had great rail system, and somehow over the rainbow in between Minneapolis and St. Paul, they stopped it. And I was like, why would you do that? Why would you not continue to do this? And they stopped to do that, and now they have that light rail. Never took it actually system. And it's doing a decent job, but there is more to develop. There is more to develop in order for people to be more, make it easier to go to work from A to Z. Makes it easier to travel within the area instead of using the car. If you don't have a car, you're in doo-doo. Except if you're in Minneapolis, a lot of people use bicycles. So there's a lot of people with bikes to do that, to go to work. So, but very interesting. So that was one thing. It would be nice. It would be nice to hear from Ben and give us some of his feedback as well, and what he found it amazing, what he found it surprising. And one thing that I asked actually, and it's the same, was about the same thing that I said actually, was about the food. What he missed the most, he was like, food, and I'm like, yep, food. Unless you can find good. There is some good ethnic stores you can buy some stuff, but I remember the first week I was here. So people eating, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, nothing against that. But when you don't grow up with it, and you look at it and you're looking at how it looks like, you're like, oh, I'm not eating this. What in the world? So I never eat a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Never did. But very interesting, the way you eat. And after a week, I got tired of it. I like my salad. I like to have the meal, not the mac and cheese. Or I make the mac and cheese because my mom used to make some great mac and cheese from scratch, not from the box. The box is okay, but that's not from when we're making it. But I made a tabbouleh. I made a lot of things. So after a week, I'm like, no, I need to eat some of the European way because I'm starting to miss that. And so I changed and I did some stuff that was more from Europe. So, and I still love to do that. Except tonight, what did we do today? I marinated. Oh yeah, still with a salad. I always love salad. Don't ask why. That's how we do over there. So you always start with a salad. And that was what? Basmati rice with some. I got a combination of sweet pea vegetables, and I made them in a peanut sauce, which was pretty good. And there was a marinated chicken breast. That was pretty good. That was an awesome little dinner. And what did we got at the end? We did. Oh, cheesecake. And no, I did not make. I loved it. Actually, I have not made cheesecake forever. The one that I made was from Susan Summers. I don't know if you know her books. Well, here's a good thing. If you want to learn how to eat, well, that's more French because her husband is French, but still. She has plenty of different recipes, actually. You want to make good food, not that expensive, easy to make, buy her books. I even use the truffles, the base of the truffle, the cognac truffles that I make. I use her recipe, which is a pretty simple one because it's not very complicated. There's only two things in there, and that's it. But I use her recipe on some of her two, because I don't put sugar in there. But yeah, I use some of her recipes. She had some awesome cheesecake. She has a bunch of stuff that she has are very easy to make. They are delightful, but why not? You get salad, soup, fish, meat, all of the course you want. And she even had one, and I love Indian food, so it was a chicken curry, and hers was super good. So I love Indian food, so that's one thing. That's why I eat a lot of basmati rice as well. But I love my Indian food, so same thing. When I have a chance to do things like that, I just make it a little bit exotic. Make it, sometimes it's just the sauce. When I go to some of the grocery store, I do pick up some sauce, some curry or vindaloo sauce, things that I don't have time to make, but it's on hand. And I will mix it with the vegetables to give it a little kick, or even the soy sauce. Actually, one of the easiest things for me, I know now we're talking food. Now I'm going to make everybody hungry. I say, Emma, you better to start to ship some food here. When I do some of the vegetables and I want to add a little spice in there or something along those lines, or something, lift up the taste, then I will use a little bit of soy sauce, which basically will, and plus that's why you don't need to add sodium in there, salt, because the sodium is already into the soy sauce, but just in there to lift it up and give it a different taste. You don't need a lot. The same that I did tonight with the peanut sauce, I just put a little bit at the end. So I let cook the veggies in olive oil, because that's what we do. That's what I do in Europe. People realize that the Mediterranean style is, people are like, well, you eat, but they're not as fat. I'm like, yeah, because we're using some of oil. Like olive oil is very good for the digestion. And that's one thing we love to use. That's what I think I love to cook with is olive oil. However, I don't like the olives itself, but I love the olive oils. Do not ask me why, but this is how it works in my book for me. But using this, starting to, the sweet peas, there was a lot of, the frozen things that I took because I like the frozen vegetables. That's when when you want to make it a quick combo, I like to use frozen vegetables. And just what we did, added onions in there. And after the onions started to be more a little clear, glaze them a little bit, put the frozen veggies on top of it, and close to the end, when everything is almost done, just pour that little bit of the peanut sauce. Not much, enough not to cover it, but enough on it to just get the taste of it. So eating it next to the basmati and the marinated chicken was just delightful. So very simple things to cook. That was, what is his name? I like to, it's on Dabble channel, then I like it. Even TPT has it too, but the Dabble channel has, Ramsey, and the other one that I like him very much. He's pretty good. He's from, I think he's Australian. I think he's not British. I think Oliver, his first name. I forgot his name. I see his face, but I forgot his name. Same thing. They have some very simple 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. You can do a full meal. So there is no excuse to go pick up something from the freezer, or you can have it, those easy frozen dinners. But you can make quick dinners by picking up a few things along the way. Like I said, I like Wild TT is my favorite place to shop. Sorry, people, and I should ask them to give me some money for always talking about Wild TT is Walmart, by the way. But I like their frozen section because they have, I even Discover over there, which was like, it's about time. Discovered, you get frozen even garlic, basil, ginger. So you just peel, put one of them, one of those little cube, and it's fresh, actually, basil or garlic or ginger into your food very quickly and cook it. It's like it's awesome. You don't have to buy the full thing if you don't have the time to do it. But this is so easy to grab it, put it in your freezer. I always said, and when I used to work a long time ago on overnight, and I used to do the produce area, I always told people, I said, this is what you should do: shop this, put it into your what do you call it? Tray. That would be the ice cube tray. Cover it, and let it froze. It's already done. You just have to pop one every time. Well, somebody got the idea finally to do that, and you can buy them into the frozen section, which I love. It makes it so much easier. So it's always great when you do your cooking and you look around on very easy recipes or how to elevate the food. That's what I love. It's elevating all of that. Sometimes you can add, like I said, a little bit of soy sauce will make a little kick into it, more little Asian style, or like the peanut sauce, just a little bit. If you're not allergic to peanuts, do not do that. Do not do that. But you can always elevate with a little bit of sauce. You don't have to dump the entire thing in, because if you dump and you put too much, that's a little too much, but enough. And you can have something done within 30 minutes, not even. This is what I love. It's like you never know. Well, I never know what I'm going to be cooking, except if I get the meat or something like that. Or some days I don't eat with meat. I do meatless. I do a couple of days I don't feel like eating meat, so I don't eat the meat. But I do the vegetables and stuff like that, just to have fun with it, because otherwise it's boring. To be honest with you, sometimes it's boring. So add a little bit of spice, add a little bit of like a garlic or an onions in there. Makes a huge difference. A little parsley, basil at the end. Just kind of curing the food or the taste bud. Get your little taste bud and change it a little bit. Love it. People will eat the veggie a little bit better. There's another thing that I've not done for a while now. I'm thinking about it, and I have it in my refrigerator at home, is cauliflower. One of the biggest things people, and I was the first thing that Susan Summers, I remember that, had it, was substituting the potatoes, because I love potatoes. I grew up on freaking potatoes. And potatoes and pasta, because I'm Italian, so pasta. But substituting the mashed potatoes, but steaming the cauliflower, then using the, what do you call it? Mixer. A mixer. Yeah, I'm going to call it a mixer, because I'm like, my head is like, I can see it, but I don't remember the name. I think I'm becoming senile. Tonight is senile night. I use a mixer. You can use a hand mixer if you want it, or you can crush it when it's, totally steamed. And I used to pour sour cream in there and nutmeg, because I love nutmeg. And that was my favorite things to do. I absolutely, Ben is coming. Yay. So putting some cheese in there, a lot of cheese, different kind of cheese. And you turn it, because, hi, Ben, I'm talking about mashed potatoes, and I'm substituting it with cauliflower. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I am good. So I'm just
I'm
finishing my
sorry
sentence.
for interrupting for your vibe there. I was really salivating to your recipe.
Oh, the recipes. Yeah, I know. I love to talk about food, because my mom, I call her Mommy Dearest, used to cook. And when we were young, even we had a garden, so that saved a ton of money, actually. We always have fresh vegetables, so she always cooked. And and she was working long hours, so she would prep the food, and we had to warm it up and do what we were supposed to do with it so we could eat. And my uncle was a chef, and he worked for the Club Med, but he was, oh my God, his food is like to die for, seriously. So we always been surrounded by food. We always, I learned, and I like the food. I like cooking, except, my deal. If I had and somebody said, you should open a restaurant. I said, well, The deal will be, my restaurant will be what I feel like cooking that day. Meaning, there will be not a menu with 20, 30 different things to eat. It will be 2 or 3 things. You got this or nothing.
Wow.
So I'm like, no, I will not have a restaurant. Well, if your food is decent, for me, there is one thing that I saw, and I forgot. I should have write the name. And I'm a sushi addict. I love sushi. So, Japanese restaurant. And there is one in New York. And I think it take, 2.5 months to go there, to have a reservation, to be able to sit at his table. And there's maybe not even 15 to 20 people in that restaurant. But the experience is you don't order. You're just gonna, and some of those actually Japanese restaurants, that's what they do normally, is you don't order. You're gonna eat what the chef present you.
Wow.
And I like that because for me it's like, okay, you want an experience, then this is the kind of experience I would love to have. So if I had to have a restaurant, which, to be honest with you guys, it's not going to happen unless it will be in my own kitchen and I'm inviting people, I would love to do that. That to me would be a fantastic experience. Don't you think?
Yeah, that sounds like a very fantastic experience.
Well, yeah, because and he was preparing stuff the night before because whatever he was making, actually, some of his stuff was taking over 10 to 12 hours. So it's not like he showed up an hour before the restaurant opened and, I'm going to do this and that. And the presentation he had was amazing. Every single course he had were amazing. Not only to the taste bud, but to the eyes. Because we always said when you're looking at the plate, you're hungry because you're looking at the plate. So by the vision you've got. But for me, it was amazing and I don't remember the name, and it's in New York, of that individual, but it's amazing. It's like, not even 20 people per night, and that's it. But he had about, I don't know, 6 or 7 course at least. But amazing. And all of the presentation, it was extremely delicate. It was beautiful. And he had a full a cuisine in the back. But it took them that long for some of the stuff he was presenting. And every night was different. So you imagine a little bit. Yeah. So for me, it's like, oh, I would love that because I would love a restaurant. You go sit down and it's like, okay, you just have your course. You don't even order. You're just here. You enjoy it. You pay, but you're not telling what you want to eat. You just surprise, surprise. So I would rather do that because I enjoy doing things, but I don't think I would love to have people telling me what I should be cooking for them. I'm like, no, that will not go well. But yeah,
Wow.
I know. Amazing.
Interesting. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So how was your day? Good?
My day was good. I thank God everything went well, and
Good.
yeah, I was looking forward to hear your talk today. What was the topic today? I don't even know what happened to my.
So the topic today is let's unwind. That's what came up first. And I got Dr. Love because I started to talk about the show on Tuesday, which is a big show because that's the C Show Meet Dr. Love. So I had Dr. Goodman that came on stage for a little bit. So we talked about a little bit of sensuality and sexuality and love. And he had a very interesting thought before he went and make his cup of coffee.
Yes, I heard that. I think I caught him when he was giving his opinion or sentiments.
Yeah.
I like the way uh, he, I don't know, I don't want to say explodes, but the way he brings out his ideas or
Yes.
issues. And, yeah, I really respect him for that.
Oh, and I do too. That's the reason when he asked me, Tuesday, as I said, last Tuesday was like Christmas for me 3 times in a row. And you were the number one because you're the number one that, you came on the show and you share a little bit of your story. But that was the reason, and I'm so humble because Dr. Love wants to do it with me. So I'm like, perfect. We're doing that show. starting every Tuesday. We'll be live and we'll be talking about the subject of love, sensuality, sexuality. Because for me, I think it's necessary. Like I said it earlier, it's a subject that is taboo, but there is some misunderstanding between sensuality, sexuality, and I think some people don't understand the difference in the way to talk. And I love the way Dr. Goodman explained things.
Yes.
It's educational, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
It's accessible for
There's,
everybody to understand.
yeah. There's a story that Dr. Goodman talks about, like his uncle told him. I think he sent him something, or he explained something to him, and after that, he asked him to say it in his own words, like.
Yes,
And that's a very powerful analogy, like to use in every aspect. Like I just told you, like I came here 5 years ago, not more than 5 years ago, and it's something that has I resonate with, especially now that I'm married to an American, and sometimes I remember there's a time it almost made me feel belittled when she said one time she told me something, and she wanted to clarify, and she said, "Can you tell me what I just said in your own terms?" And that was a very hard question to answer because one, anyone will look at it as someone who's belittling you, but again, she was trying to be very clear with her communication. And Dr. Robert, I think, uh, using his analogy, is about being clear with how we communicate, right? So. I just lost a thought there. Sometimes I think too deep. Sometimes I forget about
that's okay.
what he was. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no,
So
I
just
think
go ahead.
that's perfect what you said. I think it's perfect because, and I can relate to what you're saying because the two of us are not from here. So even me after
Yeah, yeah,
20,
yeah.
even me after 25 years, trust me, there is this. It's like, what? What you're saying to me doesn't, the
Mm,
words don't mean the same thing. So it's a
exactly.
question, yeah, it's a question to be at the same level and understanding each other's. Yes, I
That's very
agree.
true. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it's very deep because I think I was reading some book. I can't remember which book. I read a lot of books, but the writer said that often the difference between a successful man and the failure and a failure is not one's better abilities or ideas, but the courage that one has to bet on his ideas, to take a calculated risk and act.
Yep.
But again, that was very deep. But again, I say that uh, when you're communicating, it's like a two-way traffic. I will be saying something, but my audience will be listening to something else.
Yep.
So I think it's a very it's important to have like clarity on what, just to give it. I think giving context to whatever you're speaking about
Yep.
gives power to the idea you're talking about.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree with you. So,
Yeah,
yes.
and just me coming from Africa, it is different because English is not our first language. We have
Mine
like,
neither.
yeah, it's so many other languages before we get to
Yep.
English. And I really respect the people that I talk to sometimes, and they get the idea firsthand. It does
Mm-hmm.
not only tell me about the understanding; it tells me that I'm improving with my communication.
Yep.
Yeah, and I really I really want to give credit, especially to the people I'm very close to, that they have the courage to correct me, because sometimes being vulnerable enough to be corrected is sometimes a little bit of an uphill task, because people risk losing those connections, and the
Well,
people. Yeah, come on, just go ahead. Sorry.
no, I agree with you, but you know what? It's only my experience I can talk about. I agree with you because English is not my first, my second, or my third language. It is not.
Mhm.
So
Right.
when I was here, you have to keep an open mind. And I had a lot of people, and sometimes it kind of changed the conversation when I asked at the beginning, and I always said to individuals I talked to, I said, if I'm not saying something properly, please correct me because I need to learn. And a lot of people did, which was great. But the problem is, if you start a conversation and then, well, you did not pronounce this, and I'm like, okay, can you explain me this and that? So at the end, the conversation we had, we forgot about it. That was the only thing. But you have to keep an open mind. And even sometimes I still do ask if I'm not saying something correctly or I'm not pronouncing it correctly, then I will try to figure it out or ask people. I said, okay, how do we say this? How this, that? So for me, even after those many years to be here, I don't mind to be corrected because I'm still learning the language. There are some words I have no idea what they means. And I have to ask and I say, okay, I don't understand this one. Can you explain to me that word? Okay, I learned something new.
Yeah,
So,
and that's why I said, like, it takes a lot to be in that space of being vulnerable and just say, like,
yeah, well, you
honestly,
have to.
this is not my first language, and I
Nope.
want to know better. I want to be a better communicator. But I realized again that it's not about what you say, is about how you listen.
Yep.
So so you know how to respond to things, because
Yep.
I'll just say let me just drop a very funny thing that happened.
Go
One of
ahead.
my mentors, we had dinner uh, earlier on when I came over here, and they were asking me what I did before, like before I came to the US, and we were talking and the challenges that I had, what I didn't like about my job, and we were talking about dress code. Like I like wearing ties and all that, but sorry for the background noise. I was trying
That's
to
okay.
make sure. Yeah. So so we were talking about dress code and all that, and the waiter came to our table and she was asking about. Oh, okay, we ordered salad first and all that, and they were asking about the dressing. What dressing do you want on your salad and all that? So it caught me on that process of explaining about the dress code. So uh, the wife to my mentors asked me what dressing do I like. Uh, I said I prefer casual.
I love it. So what did they say?
So so
I love it. So cool.
yeah, so it came out like I did not really understand, but
Yep.
later on she understood what was going on, because she was explaining to me dressing is what you put in your salad and all that. And you see, it's not that I don't know, but I had to take it. But it came, the timing was not right, or the timing was just perfectly enough to make an error like that.
But that's awesome.
So yeah, so stuff like that, it always becomes an issue of just being aware of what's going on at every time. Like whenever you're communicating, what plays out when you're talking, and the context you put in whatever that is on the table. So
Wow. do you do you want to? I tell you one, and well, it's late, so we can say it now. I think what time? Well, it's 7:44. Okay, so
Mhm.
you're right on that dressing. Me is the pronunciation of some of the words that sometimes are not. When you go into a conversation, it's like, I'm sorry, that's not what I was trying to say. Or I did not understood that. So,
Right.
caulking. Okay, caulking is used. People will know if you are using, and during construction, you can use
The
caulking
painting. Yeah.
outside. Okay, but the problem, because for what I see and the way I pronounced it, wasn't caulking, it was caulking, and it did not have the same pronunciation because it's basically the male genitalia, and I'm like, yeah, I would like to do the caulking over there, caulk. And then the guy is looking at me at the, at the Home Depot over there, and they looked at me like, I'm turning around and say, what? Did I pronounce it wrong? And that's where I realized I pronounced it, the way I pronounced it wasn't proper because it's supposed to be caulking. And I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, I understand that because some of the words like dressing, it depends on
Hmm.
which sentence you're using it. There is words that, like you said, casual dressing or the dressing of a salad. Yeah. And me, the way I pronounce some of the words could go the wrong way.
Right.
Totally
Right.
the
Right.
wrong way. And you don't
Hmm.
realize that when you're talking. It's like, for me, it's normal, but now I have to make sure I'm pronouncing, I do the pronunciation properly. So I'm like, okay, people, do you understand now? It's like, good lordy. But yeah, like pillow and pillow. I always said pillow. I don't say a pillow. Give me a pillow. No, I say pillow. It's still a pillow in
Right.
my
Right.
book, but it's a pillow.
Yeah. And like I told you earlier, like sometimes it's not good to. It's not the best thing to do. Like to just assume that whatever you're communicating is understood.
Yep.
And my wife kind of brought up a very, very technical and very powerful tool uh, to kind of like, I don't know, to eliminate that vagueness in communication. So she will tell me something, a very simple thing, like, I don't know what example to give, but she will tell me something, and then she will also ask, tell me in your own words, what did I say? You know, to give
Mm-hmm.
context to the subject, and that has been very powerful also in how I deliver it. Like now, sometimes we have casual people working for us, and you will give instruction, and when you come back, you'll get a different result. That means that the communication was in error,
Yep.
and that has really helped me in just building my communication skills and putting things in perspective and understanding that I am coming from a place that English is a fifth or third language, and where I live at right now, where I exist right now, is English is the first language. So I have to be very proficient with my communication, and j- that has really helped me to break those cultural barriers and just making things easier even for the people that I interact with, because we always want people to interface. We always want to interface with people in a way that we are winning in every interaction. But I realize there's a lot to do with teamwork. There's a lot to do with the speaker and the listener, so that whatever goal you have to achieve, it will come to fruition. And there's like flawless uh, communication.
Yeah, and that's why I want you and anyone who's new or who has been on Wisdom for a while, but they're just observer, aka listeners, to start their own show because it's a great way when you start your own show. It's not only like you mentioned and you said and so eloquently about the communication and being understood and listening. To me, being here on stage and host the C show has been a great adventure because I do podcast, but I talk to myself or I do collaboration. And but it's different here. Here you're live. Here you're interacting with people that come on stage like you do and everybody else's does. Everybody has a different, when we are sharing ideas, we're sharing thoughts, we all think a different way. So it's a great way to learn, like you mentioned, to articulate, to be able to express ourselves and listen to others and understand each other. If we don't understand each other, then we can, I will say, continue a conversation so we can understand each other. But here it's a great way. I felt it's a great incubator here to be able to continue our communication and continue to learn how to communicate. And here it's a great and ideal place. It's a practice ground. It's the
Very
incubator.
true, very true. I really agree with that. I just had a question for you. Like, how do you, especially now that you also do consulting and all that, and being that you're not from the US, and how do you ensure that your options or your solutions are well communicated to your clients, especially with SMEs, small and biz,
Oh,
small and medium enterprises? Like, how what kind of follow-ups do you have to ensure that
well,
your
okay.
communication is effective?
Well, you will see because I don't know if you saw your email. I send you a form to complete because I have questions for you first, and I need you to complete them and send it back to me. I mentioned to you I have what do we call it? It's called, that software is freaking a good software. I cannot believe it. And I am been in a consultant for over 20 plus years. And I worked for large, small, and medium companies as a consultant, as a permanent as well. And so I have I worked in the IT world as well, so I'm technical as well. So when I came across this, and that's why I started that partnership, they have 497 million algorithm into that software. So
Right.
basically, that software does is I'm inputting some information in there, and as we're talking, I will show you this when we're going to be face to face, and I will do that with you. And basically, it's a great roadmap that's going to help. And as a business coach, it's helping people, companies to grow, but to how can I say that? Oh, that's a good question right now because I'm losing my thoughts. Bad Emma. It's finding, helping people, companies to increase their sales and their leads, but in the same time, help them to create the right foundation. One of the things that I realized way long time ago, and I work with startup companies as well because I've been part of a couple of startup. One last year, and the one before I took over some of the CFO position for that company. It's being able to realize that people are gifted. Like, you're a painter, you're a cook, you're, I don't know, a scientist. Now, most of them don't have the business acumen to get it started properly. When I started my company a few years ago, I wanted the base because your basics is your accounting, is setting up your website, is everything you need to get going. And
Right.
I created the base because I knew it, because I've done that for many years. I know it. I've worked in different companies. I saw how they're working, blah, blah, blah. So I learned it. But people who have an idea, they don't have all of those pieces, or they don't know how to market themselves. They don't know how to do things. And they're wasting a lot of time to do things they don't know how to, or they don't even know it. And sometimes they do with that software, which is pretty cool, and I've done it on several small businesses, is to find money. They don't even know they had it.
Okay.
It's amazing. So I will show you when, as I said, fill out the thing, send it back to me, and I will show you what I'm talking about. But it's helping people to be successful in their business. My goal when I was in corporate was looking at, and I was more prevalent for one of them in particular. I went into that company and I became a permanent person over there. Which to be honest with you, I like my consulting work better than permanent because I like to evolve and see different things. But I went in there because they were talking to me and they said, well, we've been there for 20 years and we're $8 million. And in my head, all of a sudden, I'm like, what? No, you should be $50 million, not 8. I said, there is something wrong here. Something is not. I said, the product is good. But there is something that doesn't work here. I said, no, not after 20 years. You should not be 8 million. You should be $50 million. And when I went in, the first day, because normally people get trained, I was already working on fixing things in their processes. I'm like, okay, people inside of different departments were bickering instead of working together. I'm like, okay, that's a problem. Then looking at the manufacturing, I realized that they had some equipment, but they needed more equipment. I'm like, the president of the company did not want to invest more in equipment where the demand was high. I'm like, how can you produce if you don't have the full equipment? If you don't have another machine? And you're going to pay it up very quickly because you got orders, they want to come in, but you only have one machine who can do this. Then I looked at possibilities to expand because the company wants to grow. And the company wanted to grow. And I remember I was sitting down, and it was supposed to be my review. That was hilarious. So we went first. That was probably the only time I really liked to have a review at that time. We went to a burger place, a joint. We sat down with the VP because I was reporting to the VP. I was basically his shadow. In less than a half an hour, instead of doing my review, I gave him a roadmap to create something that could have been able to implement, and that was in high demand. They did not even do it, but I saw with the market we were in, because it was gas and oil and electrical and telecom and blah, blah, blah. I saw what we could do to help them for compliance-wise. I created a roadmap in less than a half an hour. I had everything for them. I already had an idea how to create the software, how to create the things, to implement it, everything. At the end of the day, the most interesting part of it was pass it on to him. He pitched it to the president because every word, and that was the sad part of it, it's how a company grows, is to see if the person on the top, and I talked about leadership, and we talked about leadership, I think, on Wisdom, and I pop on other people who talked about leadership. It always comes from the top. If the person is open, then it's great. If the person is closed off, then that's a problem. And that individual, that was the president of the company, everything I said was nothing. It's like, I'm going to use that analogy, it's like peeing in a violin and thinking you're going to play better, basically. That's mean nothing. However, I figured out very quickly, actually. The first time I talked to him, I figured out that everything I would say to him, it will never happen. However, I utilized the VP and I said, okay, here's the idea, blah, 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 go and pitch it. Every word he said was golden, because that's always been like that. So he never listened to women. He only listened to his boys, which was fine by me because I could care less. I'm like, as long as the stuff's being done, that's fine. However, the mistake he made, that president, instead of pass it on back to us to make it happen, he gave it to somebody else who had no clue at all. And he went nowhere. And they couldn't make a lot of money. They could do a lot of good things compliance-wise and developing it. So from all of this and all of the years that I've been in business and doing what I've done for different companies, I saw the possibilities of how I love to help a company to grow. Because for me, the biggest success you can have as a business coach is seeing people growing, seeing companies to grow and become bigger and doing a good job. Not go haywire and crazy, but good company changing and evolving. If you are coachable, you can reach the sky. The problem with him, on the top of it, this is what appalled me the most. He paid a coach thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, but nothing changed inside of that company. The mentality, the fighting, the people that were in leadership position were not the right people. Because I talked to the VP, because we were very, I work with him and I trusted him. And I told him, I said, the problem is the people that are in a leadership position here are the wrong people. They were not thinking about the company. They were thinking about themselves and what they will take out of it. What is my piece of the cake? And it's like, no, if you start this way, this is where the bickering, the infighting, it was unbelievable. It was a small company. And I'm like, my goodness, I said, I've been in billion-dollar company. I said, I saw fights, but I'm like, as a small company here by the square inches, they're all fighting with each other. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? You're supposed to work with each other, not against each other. So it was like a big, whole dysfunctional family. And it come to a point, then you realize that the company wants to grow, cannot grow, but nobody is listening to you. So are you going to stay there? Or are you going to move out of it? And it come to a point, it's like you can do so much, but you need to recognize when nobody wants to listen what you got to say, it's a waste of time. And for me, I was disappointed because there were a lot of possibility for that company to grow, and it never grew. It never did. And the products were great. They had so much going on, but the problem is they had a coach, and that was my the first blog I wrote. The first one was, what kind of a leader are you? So if you go to edgintuitive.com .net and you search for it, you will find it. Or you can go on LinkedIn, because I believe I posted on LinkedIn, and that was the first one I wrote. Because to me, based on everything I have seen in 20 years, and this one, I'm like, that's questionable. That's what people should be looking into it. A leader, the
Well,
cancer
what I
always
can
start at
say,
the top. Yeah?
what I can say there is that, you see, like, I think I was talking to you yesterday about like businesses. Okay, I'm a chess. I play chess,
Yes,
and
yes.
sometimes I think businesses will custom make their goals or their mission or their vision according to what their end goal, like whatever they want to achieve at the end of a assigned period they've specified.
Yep.
And I don't know if it was I think I listened to Sonia Sundara or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah,
or
Sonia. Yeah.
or Daniel. I think it was Daniel or Sonia. One of the two said sometimes it's healthy to categorize your clients. Like for me, I'm coming in like a small business and a small medium enterprise,
Yeah.
and there are certain challenges
Oh, yeah.
that we go through, whether it's personnel, whether
Yep.
it's marketing and all
Yep.
that. So it is always something that I've always wanted to know, like how do you know where you are in your journey so that you can
I will. Yeah. And that software, what I do, it will show you where you are, and it will show
yes.
you your goal. But here's the problem I have, okay? And something that to me is very sad, because I saw it in even the bigger companies. When you
Mhm.
have a core value, you need to breathe it every single day. I have seen people who use core value, but don't even do it. And to me, true leadership starts by talk the talk, walk the walk. But don't
Mhm.
expect people below you to do this if you don't. How often did I saw this happening? Too many times. Bigger, medium, or large. And it, to me, it doesn't resonate. If you do not do this, you lose credibility of the company will lose credibility no matter what. But you really have to leave it. You have to embrace it. Embrace it. And the only two that I saw so far, and I can say their names, Corn Ferry, because I used to be a permanent over there, and I love Corn Ferry, was my favorite company of all time. If I had one, Club Med was one, but Club Med is a different story, so we're not going to go there. But Corn Ferry is one of them, and the other one, then I work as a consultant, was Thomson Reuters. Those guys, when I walked in, really, they live their culture. And this is the agile style because you got the waterfall. So for people who don't know, there is a different, and I'm an agile coach or whatever you call it. I pass so many things, but agile style means it's more collaborative. When you go somewhere, the waterfall was, I will call it the old day, but people still using it. So that means somebody on the top is going to tell you this is how we're going to do it, give you the roadmap, and this is what you follow. You follow the road, no matter what. You don't argue the point, you just follow what we're telling you to do. The agile style, however, is different. It's collaborative. That's mean now more companies are starting to use the agile because you need to reach your customer faster. You need to listen to the voice of the customers. Not everybody is doing it, or if they're doing it, it's so slow that by the time they're trying to reach their consumer, they're gone somewhere else. So I've seen true collaboration, and the one that I saw that really, and I have a story to tell because a couple of years ago, they called me in for doing a consulting job, and I'm like, cool, I'm going to go over there. And I was, again, not as a coach, which is great, because I'm an analyst per heart. So I was in a PM level, and I was working on one of their projects. And I went with an open mind. That's what I always do. And I always say to people, when you go somewhere, you don't say you know everything because you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. I always come with my full skill set and my knowledge. But I don't come up and say, well, I know better than you because blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, this is where you get slapped in the face because you go somewhere, you need to learn very quickly how a company functions. What is their core value, but how it's functioning? And you cannot say that when you're opening your mouth and blah, blah, some stuff that doesn't make any sense. You need to adapt to the company. And that story went well, actually, for 5 minutes because when I went in, I showed up the first day, and I was amazed because Jeannie, and I absolutely love her, was a director, and I was reporting to her directly, actually, and Josh, because even Josh, I'm a very good friend of Josh right now, Josh, who I did a couple of personal, on my personal podcast, I talked about leadership with him. I have a few episodes with him because I absolutely love the way he actually approached everybody. And the first time she greeted me downstairs, and you know, most people will not even strike a conversation and say, oh, hi, hello, how are you doing? She was so friendly. I have never seen people walking around saying hello to everybody, see how they were doing. And doing it to everybody, not only me, because even if you were coming to me and say hello, I was like, well, I was shocked. She's done it the whole time I was over there. I was shocked. I'm like, wow, they are that friendly. I'm like, yep, that's not a lie. But coming with an open mind was very interesting. So the first day I showed up, they had somebody that, they hired that guy from New York, came from New York. Nothing wrong, I love New York, so nothing wrong with New York. But he has his own playbook. And he was supposed to map that process that we were working on, actually. And the first day I appeared, first of all, they didn't want me before 8 o'clock. I'm like, what? What is that? Because he says so. All right? He wanted to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't work with me because I live over 30 miles. I'm like, no. But I said nothing. I showed up at 8 o'clock. I'm like, we'll see what's going to happen, you know. If I have 2 hours to drive back home, that's fine. But I'm going to modify it because that's what I do. But I don't show up and say I'm going to modify it right away. I just want to see. I'm looking at my calendar. I barely made it. My calendar looks like a freaking Christmas tree. And I had to do training. And the training did not even make any sense because we sat down in some rooms and people were talking about how to run things, and I'm like, okay, but if I'm supposed to work on that project and I have specific people who can teach me as I go along, I'm not going to waste 2 hours of my time in the morning to talk about things that doesn't make sense. His explanation did not even, it was so discombobulated. It did not make any sense. And I'm looking at like, okay, but I'm looking at my calendar. I'm like, I am not going to sit down at 10 o'clock. I barely be here at 8. I have to sit down at 10 o'clock. And at 2 o'clock, I have to do this. And at 3 o'clock, I'm like, no. So I went and talked to Josh and I said, okay, Josh, I have a question for you. I said, I'm looking at the calendar here. I'm like, okay, it looks like a Christmas tree. I don't think so. I said, do we really have to have all of those meetings? I said, how do we work in between? Because I'm spending more my time on meetings than doing the job I'm supposed to be doing and learning some of the stuff before we can get things going. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm looking at me, I'm like, okay, Ma, let's see. And obviously, he wasn't a huge fan either. By the end of the day, that Christmas tree turned its lights off. I'm like, that was the first thing. Second thing is starting to learn everything around. And I started by communicating with everybody. The way we worked was the poor guy tried his best, but he was so lost by doing a playbook. It's like trying to fit a square into a circle. You need to adapt your skill set and your style to where you are with a company. You can have a playbook, but you cannot force things that doesn't work. The poor gentleman spent an year over there, 1 year, and he should have had something, a process, write it down to the teeth. His process wasn't even matching the reality. What happened for the several months that I was over there, I work with those guys on the projects. Every time we fix something, we turn around, we smile, and all of a sudden we got another one coming your face. The attitude for me was, I was laughing. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to make it. And everybody were being pushed by deadlines. It was ugly, but the way they reacted was amazing. I never saw two individuals were under high pressure from everybody around doing it so well and being open. The big difference in the agile world is being open to listen. Even me, as a consulting person who came in, they heard me. Every time I say something, they heard me. And they were like, okay, we're going to pick it up this, and they make it their own. At the end of the first time that I was around with them 2 years ago, I spent an entire weekend rewriting an entire process for them. I said, this is a map, then I see. Use what you want in there, the way it fits for you guys. This is what I see, but that's my own view. That's not golden. That's just for you to start with. And I left. They wanted to hire me full time. They could not because the COVID-19 came in, everything came down, so that wasn't possible, which was fine. But they wanted to keep me on board, and they kept me on board as long as they could. And guess what? The following year, by September, October, I heard back from those guys, said, well, we're opening a position for you. Are you coming back? I said, you know what? Right now I'm looking at other things, but you know what? That's fine. I will be back in January, which I did last year. To my surprise, to tell you how those guys works, I never saw a team that in less than 8 months turn this system and that processes around that fast. I was in shock, and in a positive way. Those guys took my stuff, then I gave it to them, make it their own sauce, and came up with something else even better. That to me was the best team I ever worked with in a very long time. When I went back on board, there were still some stuff that needed to be done, but it was a pleasure to listen to them at the time of the meeting we had. I forgot what you call it. Now I'm having some agile senile moment. But every morning we had about 30 minutes, not even talk with everybody and listening how they were communicating. It was amazing. So the agile style is the best right now than I feel as a collaboration for a company. But you need to have the mindset. And those guys, I'm talking, they were directors in there, they were VPs in there, they were technical people in there. And it was amazing. So, to me, it all depends on the leadership. Like you own your own business. You set the tone of what you want. And the people will come in and be part of your company. but you're the leader. So you're the one to always have to remember you live by your words, and people will look at your actions at the end of the day.
Yes, that's very true. It sounds like your experience is very, very active, and I feel like it's um, a lot to do with corporate.
It's corporate, it's small businesses, it's a lot. It's a very wide range, actually. But corporate,
Yeah,
small business,
yeah,
you have to make a distinction with corporate. Has several entities in there. Those are called business units, which are small business, basically, within corporate. But having a view
right.
of that helps a lot because to me, I work for $1 billion company. I work for $1 million company. I work for startup companies who started with not even 100,000 in the bank.
Yeah, and sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt you, but I often think like my own perspective. This is my own
yeah,
opinion. Having worked in the corporate
you
world,
did
and
too. That's true. Yeah,
yeah, and my just looking at things, I feel like now that I'm a small business, I look at it like corporate is more to do with effectiveness, and where I am right now and the tools we use for marketing. I don't want to call names
don't.
because yeah, I just read I read the terms of engagement in these platforms, so I don't want to
Yeah,
call
yeah,
names. So we are we are more prone to dealing with not effectiveness, but I don't know which name to use, but it's more to do with the clients we deal with will look at the budget. They will look at convenience. Is That's the word I was
yeah.
looking for. So when we get a second call from a client who maybe dropped us because of the budget they had, when we go to the and look at the job that was done in their spaces, they were looking for convenience, but they failed in whatever they wanted to achieve.
Yes.
So we have to go and redo the
Yep.
same, and sometimes we have to stick to the initial budget, and it's more of a downfall for them. And how do you come in to like advise even not only the service provider, but also the consumer of the service, so that they are aware of what they are getting
Okay.
into?
Well,
Because that is really the challenge when it comes to these small
I know.
businesses. We have a lot to
And
prove.
that's why I come along, and I will show you when we meet this week. I will show you what I've got, and I'm going to explain a couple of things that will make sense to you, and put you in
Mm.
as a market in a leading position, because there is a curve and a teaching, and there is a lot of things that you can bring to your customers, to your client, that will show the benefits of it. You're going to disrupt something. You're going to teach something to them, and it will pay off at the end of the day. However, some people, you need to understand that, you're faced by clients and, consumers. Some will be open to it, and some will be worth to do the work for them, and some will not. If people want to go with cheap, then you pay for what you pay. You pay the service. You got what you pay for. If you want the quality, then you're gonna pay the price for quality. If people, there is something we always said. There is people who will be your customer for life because they know how you work. But there is people who, what we call, will
Right,
betray
right,
you
right.
because they're gonna go for the cheapest one. I'll let them go. If you want to go for the cheapest one, go for it. But I will not compromise my quality because I know my fair market value. As consultant person, I knew and I still know my fair market value. I have people calling me to do consulting work, not for business coach, but for a PM, an analyst, because of the skill set I have. I have such a wide range of skill sets. And they're telling me a price. I smile. I say, well, good for you, but I'm sorry, no. This is my price. This is a fair price. I could charge you double or triple, but here's why. And I pull out everything I've got, and I say, that's it. Now, you want to go cheaper. I even have a company, a $1 billion company. They called, and that was the most interesting thing I heard because I had no idea, actually. It's like, Emma, you live under a rock sometimes. It's a good thing. And I'm giving them what would be the minimum to do it. And the person I got on the phone said, well, I need to talk to them because it was, I think, $5 less. And I'm like, no, I'm not lowering on myself for $5, plus I have to be on site over there. I'm like, no, with the COVID-19 and everything. I'm like, no, it's like this. You know what? They called me back and said, okay. They agree with your price. I said, they don't have a choice. That's the price they're supposed to be paying. I'm sorry, but I'm not bargaining. This is what you have to learn. It's come to a point that if you know your fair market value, you do not bargain. Because if you start to bargain, then you're going to be the one losing at the end of the day. But I will explain to you this when we talk, and that will make sense what I'm talking about. But there is a point where in a time, there is some customer, they are going to be for you, and some they are not. If I go and pay somebody to do painting in my house, I'm going to do my work, okay? I'm going to do my homework to see what the average is. But I'm going to look at the quality of the work and what you bring it to me. Because if you do a good job, I will pay the price that is a fair price. So if your prices are fair, I don't have an issue with that. If you're bringing me with the quality of the work you're supposed to do, I'm going to pay the price you're supposed to be paid. If I decide to pay lower than that, then I'm going to get the quality that I pay for. And a lot of people do. It's the same thing. People complaining about the iPhone, it's too expensive, it's too this and that. Okay, but look at the quality and look what they got behind it. Look at the work they did. Look at what there is inside of the iPhone. There is no room for nothing because every space it is inside of the iPhone is occupied. The quality, the craftsmanship is worth it. But people criticize, I will never pay $1,000. But you don't have to. You can take one at $30. It's up to you. Is the quality the same?
Understood.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So a very simple example. You know what I mean? And people buy the iPhone. I have an iPhone too. I don't buy it because I want to show off that I'm an iPhone I love iPhone. I use all of the Apple stuff. Yes, it requires money. I agree with. But does it mean I'm a billionaire? No. I took it. Actually, the most interesting part of it was the first phone like that. What do you call it? Oh, my goodness. I'm going to call it iPhone. But I did not have an iPhone until 2012. Before it was just...
Yeah, you had the Android.
No, I never had Android. I got an LG phone. I never had an Android, actually. I had an LG phone who did not have a GPS, didn't have a map because I didn't saw the point to it.
No, I think an LG runs on Android.
I don't know because they didn't have internet. The one I had didn't have internet in there. That was an old one. I'm talking 2012. So when I got it, they didn't have a GPS. They have this. No, you could not even go for the internet at that point. This is how old age I was. And in 2012, I had, that was the IRS who owed me money. So that was fun. That was my little trip to Dolphin World to swim with the dolphin.
I think Jenna, if Jenna will be, do you know Jenna?
Jenna? Yes, Jenna, yeah.
If he will be on the platform, he will explain to you about the technology. But
well,
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah. No, but yeah, because mine, it wasn't a smartphone. The LG I had was an old version. It wasn't a smartphone. So
Hmm.
my first smartphone was actually the Apple. I went into the store first because I wanted an Apple at that point. But I said I'm going to go to the store, and I went to the store, and they had, so you go to the store. Half was on one side was the Apple, on the other side was the Samsung. So I didn't know at that point which one I would take. I had no idea. And I looked at the Samsung. I didn't like them. They were too bulky and too big for me, for my hands. And I said no. So I went for the Apple because I wanted the Apple, but I went in there and looked at both of them. No, I like the Apple for the technology, and I know it's very difficult to hack them, which is perfect. But I picked it up because I looked at it and it fit my hand, which was perfect. I liked the design. That was a clean design. And I understood why it cost that price. I understood. So I went with the quality that I felt was better for me, for what fit in my hands. And to be honest with you, a Samsung, I'm having a hard time to deal with a Samsung or any other phone because when I'm looking at it around, I'm like, how does things work? It's like I'm used to the Apple. I'm like, could you just make it like an Apple? just. But again, you're looking at quality. So for me, even small business, it doesn't mean small business has to bargain for everything. But there is a way to do it. There is a way to market. There is a way to get your leads. There is a way, a lot of things. That's why I said when we're going to start to talk in that hour, I will show you a bunch of stuff that's going to go in your head. And it's like, oh my God, my life's going to be a little bit easier than I thought it was. That's why starting your own business is great. I love that. That's why I love to help smaller and medium and even bigger companies. But I love the smaller and the medium size because in some cases, as I said, people don't have a full understanding. You have your craftsmanship, but it doesn't come with all of the operation behind it on the day-to-day
Very true.
operations. And that's why I come in.
Very true.
That's why I come in. And I help companies to the point that I'm not going to be there for the rest of my life. I'm helping them to be taking off the ground, do what they got to do, and then I let them fly. If they need to talk to me back again, they can talk to me, not a problem. But I'm here to see them succeed because I know the recipe. I know how to, and I can accelerate things behind it that make them successful. And that's what I love. That is a passion of me. I saw it. It wasn't a failure for me. It was a great life lessons to go into that company, that small company, that $8 million company. When I was there the first year, they went from $8 million to $12 million. When I
Wow,
left,
that's a great
well,
achievement.
here's the deal. When I left, they went from 12 to 7 million. That tells you something.
That tells me you left.
That tells me I left. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I
So
could help them to reach their goals because they wanted to go from 20. They wanted to do, their goal was 20, in 2020, they wanted to make $20 million. And I could,
so you
yeah.
know what, when you say that, it brings it just goes back to what Dr. Robert was talking about validation.
Yes.
And you know, when you say that when you were there, they did 8 million,
They
right?
were at 8 million. And
And then when you came in, they did 12
when the
million.
first year, when I went in, they were at $8 million. At the end of the year, they were at $12 million. Yeah.
Right. That's a very great achievement. And then when you left, they
7. Yes, they did. That's what happened. They went at 7. I did the same with another big billion-dollar company. Set it up, simple thing. That was funny, actually. Very, very interesting. I'm going to take you back. Hold on. Let me see. I'm going to take you back, Ben, for a few minutes so we can continue the conversation. I will take you after that, Dr. Love. One of the other thing, too, I went in for, yeah?
hello, sorry, I disconnected
I
for a
know.
minute.
You were out of time.
Yeah. I didn't realize that. I didn't real. Now I can see there's a
Yeah,
timer
yeah, yeah,
up
yeah.
there. Yeah. What I was saying is, uh, I'm an intuitive
Yes,
too,
I know. Sorry.
and yeah. So
Padema.
what I'm looking at is when you came in, they were at 8 million, and you pushed them to 12
Yep.
million, and then when you left, they went back to seven
Yep.
million. So, is it an issue to do with the business process, or is there something that was not delivered? You can come in with the package. The package is really is needed, and when you don't deliver it, it might not really bring in the effectiveness that was needed.
The
And then when you leave, does that say something about
that's because the company
your interaction?
here's the deal.
Yes.
When you come into a company and you help them, and even though there is infighting, you're capable to work in a way that can provide more insight, help people to achieve what they're supposed to do, make things happen and opportunities. It's great. But when the people on the top refuse and go backwards, this is what happened. They went backwards. I pushed them forward, they went backwards. They wanted to go back to the old ways, and they failed miserably. They lost huge contracts as well for the other sister company that was doing
Uh-huh.
big events. That did not. The other company did not. The what do you call it? They were two separate entities. So the 8 to 12 to 7 was the same company. It did not impact the sister company who lost a huge contracts at all. But the behavior inside of the company were in turmoil. So I was able
Okay.
to push the sales. I was able to get things done the way it's supposed to be done. But after when I left, then it went backwards.
Yeah, and that's why I was asking, like, does it have to do with
Behavior,
the effectiveness in communication,
behavior in general.
or because I'm talking from now. I'm a coach. I'm talking from a coach perspective. I'm not a life coach or anything. I'm a sports
Yep,
coach, but is like, if I coach
yep,
someone, and I create like a
yep,
trajectory in whatever he is
yep,
pursuing, and then I leave
yep.
him. So when I leave and he progresses, that means my coaching was effective. So if I leave and then they're not really progressing, then it means that there was a very personal attachment to that person, that I have to be there. That, like, the concept was not really communicated to
The
them,
concept
to the point that they can. It was a personal.
it could
I don't know how
it
I
could
can
be
explain it,
both.
but
It could be both. You cannot say
okay,
it's a
okay.
gray area for a simple reason is
Mm-hmm.
if you
All
can
right, all right.
modify behavior and you're
Yes.
basically the beacon who help
Mm-hmm.
them to do that, great.
Yeah.
But if you're only the beacon that can hold everything together because they are refusing to learn, it's not a failure because it's a problem. You can try any communication with people. If they're not open to change, they are not going to change. And it doesn't matter how you deliver the speech. Changes come when we're ready to do it. If I'm not ready to make my changes, you can tell me anything you want. I'm going to follow what you're telling me when you're here, but when you're gone, I'm like, phew, I don't give a crapola, is gone. So I'm going to go back the old ways because I like the old ways because I know that's better. That's all. It's the
But but
behavior.
but I feel like there's a foundation that has to be. I feel like there's a foundation that has to be
Okay?
established when there's when we have a
Yep.
goal, we are driving
Yep.
towards something.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go to the goal before you
Ex-
explain the
yep.
process. I think I read something that said, uh, when it comes to, I don't want to say corporate,
Yep.
but just entirely the
Yep.
universe. Like when you're dealing with issues and
Yep.
problems, 95% goes to explaining and describing the
Yep.
problem, and then 5% goes to now dealing
Yep.
with it. So when you say, I'm just looking at, and I'm not
No, go
questioning. I'm
ahead.
just like, I'm
Hmm.
curious because I'm learning. Because I've as I told you, I have had a lot of turnover in terms of
Yep. Hmm.
personnel in the
Yep.
business, and it's not a very good narrative. And you know, just coming from that
Yep.
perspective, does it mean that your presence will only mean that things will be 100%
Nope. Nope.
sold,
Nope.
or your concept will
The
leave
concept will leave.
even if you
The
leave?
concept will leave. You know why? Because Benjamin, you're
Yes.
coachable. Okay? It goes down to very
Yeah.
simple thing. Are you coachable or not? The individual I'm talking about his company, was uncoachable. Literally uncoachable. And he did whatever he wanted at any given time. When I was over
Yes.
there, because I work with the VP, and every idea, everything I talk, I pass it on to him, we were able to do a lot of things that I was able to implement without a problem. Now,
Yes.
when you have people who are uncoachable, you can try anything you want. You're not going to be able to change the way they are. You, however, is
Okay. Okay.
coachable.
Okay.
So that's mean everything I'm going to pass it on to you, you're going to implement that, and it's going to work because you're going to implement it the way it suits your company. Your goal is keeping retention of employee, it's getting the sales, it's doing a lot of things good. It's expanding your company. So you already have 50% of the battle already done for me because you're already
Okay.
there. It all comes
All
down,
right.
and even in corporate, you're seeing it. If you're a great manager, the employees in that area will work wonders, will walk on water for you. However, you take another manager who's micromanaging everybody and acting like a tyrant or a little Napoleon complex, people are not going to be happy. They're going to do the minimum. They're going to be miserable. They're not going to stay over there. If you go and try
Right.
to coach the person that already is open and somebody who communicates great, then it's going to continue to do wonders. If you go to the other individual and try to get through that individual, it doesn't matter which way you're going to go through. At the end of the day, it might not be receptive. And a lot of them are not receptive and continue the same pattern because they think better. It all depends of the attitude. That's all.
Okay.
And in the case where I was, it was a great life lesson to look at. And I knew when I left, first of all, I'm going to be honest with you. I said and I told the VP afterwards, I said, I would have met the president of the company first. I would have not gone in. But he wasn't there when I did all of the interviews first. So I met the VP, I met the team. So I knew I was reading people. I'm like, I knew who was what. I'm like, I'm fine with that. And I met him at the last minute when I already gave my words to the VP. I will come on board to help, blah, 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 blah. Because they were expecting me to help them with their processes. I'm like, okay. When he walked into the room, I'm like, oh boy, that's going to be something here. I said, I do not like that guy. There is something off. And I was right. I would have met him first. I would back out from it. But I did not. I was interested about what was going on, etc., etc. So that was fine. I gave my word to the VP. I was like, okay, I was already halfway in. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to waste their time. They were desperate. I'm like, fine, let's see how it's going to play out. But I knew already by looking at him, something wasn't quite right, was fishy. And I was right. I would have met him. I would have never do business with him because I did not trusted him. That makes a difference. So for me, I'm in a position right now. I can say, yes, I'm going to help you. I'm going to say, no, I don't want to help you. And I'm going to help people and small and medium company that really wants their company to grow and mature. If you're not willing and you're not coachable, I'm not going. I'm not going to waste my time. It's wasting my time. I want to help people who want to see their company growing and flourishing and being happy. My success is behind the people, to see them growing and maturing and just being happy and just thriving and living their dreams. That's all. It's not putting a list of people and say, oh, I did this. No, 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 no. It's my success. It's always been there. Everywhere I went, for everything I've done, even when I was at Thomson Reuters, even when I was at Korn Ferry, even with other companies, it's always seeing what they did and how well they're doing. To me, Thomson Reuters will always be part of that group in particular. I will always be amazed taking what I gave it to them. And they could have done everything. They could have put it in a garbage. They could have hit delete. They could not care less. And pick up some of the ideas. And I gave it to them. I said, I don't care. I said, this is what I see. Take it. Take whatever you want in there. But they had a roadmap. Nobody gave them the roadmap. And I did it for free. I said, I don't care. I said, I spend my weekend, take this and do this with that. And they were like so amazed. And I said, just take it and run with it. And they took some of the ideas, implemented in 8 months. They turned things around. I never saw a team being able to do this in 8 months. It would have taken a year and a half.
Wow.
Those guys did miracles. I was shocked. And I'm like, in a good way. And I told them last year, I wrote a very heartfelt email at the end when I was done working for them. And I even put them in tears because to me, it's amazing to see really good leadership and people and their team. My goodness, such a great team of people. It doesn't mean they were all perfect, but the connection, the communication, everything were on point. Doesn't mean it was a perfect day every day, no. But they made things happen in a way that was amazing. Listening to and those morning calls, roll calls, what we call it, over there, was just amazing. It was amazing to hear different people from different departments all talking and finding solution. They were not fighting against each other. They were finding solution. That's why I like the agile style. It's being able to communicate in a way that we're all on the same plane. We're here to resolve a problem. We're not here to bicker or it's my idea, it's my... No. Everybody, we're talking, actually, not withholding information. And for me, moving into the space of business coach is helping you and other business people who want to small, medium size, who want to continue to grow and fix what doesn't work and see how to make it better so you can get your craft. You can do what you're supposed to be doing. Like I said, man, you need a freaking MBA for a bunch of stuff. Just if you want to be a cook, and then you need to know how it works with your restaurant. You need to know how to do your accounting. You need to do this. There is a lot of pieces, and you know that. And I do that as well. That takes a lot of time, and sometimes we're not expert on everything. But if somebody can come and help you to get to the next level, to help you to really do this, that to me is like, well, you're helping, and I'm going to take it, I'm going to apply it, and I'm going to continue to do that over and over. Then it's like it's a magical recipe you use the rest of the time. And if you need any feedback or anything else, then you get access. And it's like, hey, Emma, I need you for this and that later on. Like, fine. Like I said, I'm here for a moment. And after a while, you fly on your own. It's not like I'm going to carry in your hand for the rest of your life. Not at all. I'm going to give you the tool. I'm going to show you. I'm going to be there. And then when it's taking off and everything is stabilized the way it's supposed to be, then I will step back. And that's yours. And you call me when you need me after that. Or just say hello. Or send me some chocolate.
Yeah, that's right.
Or I can bring you here in Minnesota, make you fly here and do a job for me in my place. Either way. But that's what it is. As I said, at the end of the day, the word is, are you coachable? Are you willing to learn?
Yeah, there's always that aspect of looking at issues as we don't see things the way they are. We see things the way we are, the way we understand them, and that's how we communicate. And that's the beauty of working as a team, sometimes you have to be able to be vulnerable enough to give yourself up to a place that you want to be coachable,
Yeah.
but it comes to the going back to what I said earlier. It goes back to the vision and the mission of the
Yep.
of whoever you're working with, whether it's
Yep.
corporate, whether it's SME, or even
Yep.
individuals, because I feel like sometimes the solutions we have on the exterior are always within us. They're
Yep.
always in the interior. We have to work on just giving up our ego
Yes.
and just working with what is on the table for that moment.
And sometimes you need the help to bounce back. You need ideas. You need somebody else, even though, you know, after everything is said and done, then you have somebody you can bounce back stuff too. It's not like, okay, I need somebody else's that can give me a little bit of clarity because that person has an understanding how things works, but is not part of the company, but can give me that honest feedback.
Very
And
true.
that's, to me,
Very
is
true.